Does your dining table still scream summer? Are you ready for some autumn cozy vibes? Let's fix it. I'm going to show you some simple, easy, timeless swaps that bring warmth, texture, and an effortless season charm. I love a table setting. I have a table setting most of the time. It brings extra texture, extra layers, extra color, and all of these things into a space rather than just seeing a simple plain timber tabletop that we have. I love to add runners or flowers and all these sorts of things, but as the seasons do change, I always am conscious of what is on the table because we look at it every single day. So let's jump into the tips today about decorating and restyling your dining table or a side table just to bring in some extra texture, color, and warmth as the seasons change. So tip number one is changing your florals. I'm a huge fan of having fresh flowers in my home, but in the cooler months, that is a bit more difficult. Depending on where you live and what grows, I will definitely swap out some items for artificial. I love a good artificial bunch, especially in the cooler months, because you can still have those specific tones that you're looking for that will match in with everything else and really bring that extra texture to the space. I was really lucky this season. I had quite a few of my hydrangeas flower, so I did pull them off and let them dry out, and now they have been able to dry to a beautiful like vintage gold color. They're absolutely beautiful. So I can't wait to use this in a simple vase, and knowing that it's still from my garden but it is dried is just something that brings the extra texture, the color, and it's something really easy to do if you do grow certain plants and flowers in the summer season. Drying them out is a cost-saving way of having dried flowers in the cooler months. Next up is some artificial like ball type flowers in 3 different tones. I absolutely love this setup. I think this is fabulous. It was not very expensive at all, but it's always good to buy more of the same item in different colors. That will really bolster the look. And when I style the space that I'm going to style with these, I'll show you what I mean. But this is a great idea, and they go away for most of the year, but they are really easy to pop into a cupboard. They get wrapped up into an old pillowcase, so they're kept in a great condition. They're not dusty, they stay really nice, and the texture on them is so real-like. I think it's so cool. For a flower lover and a plant lover, I love having these brought out into the autumn and the winter. Hi everyone, I'm Jade. I live in Australia and I'm an interior designer, decorator, stylist, but I usually spend most of my time in my own home styling up, DIYing, decorating, and thrifting. And so if that is something that you would like to learn more about, I love to decorate and style on any budget. It does not have to cost a fortune to make a space beautiful, and I'm here to share some hints and tips. So if that sounds great, I would love you to subscribe and let me know in the comments today which season is your favorite. My favorite is autumn, the one we're about to go into. As the seasons change, the leaves change here. Based on where I live, autumn is stunning, but I would love to know where you're from and what is your favorite season. So my tip number 2 is layering some linens or fabrics onto the table. Adding in slightly heavier fabrics onto the table as a runner is also a great idea. Tip number 3 is not keeping it too minimal, honestly. Like, you need some layers, you need some items. Stop like keeping it super simple, because it will look boring and it will look flat. So adding in like layers and textures in those cooler months is exactly what you need to do. So if your space is lacking a little, adding in textured glassware I recently picked these up in a beautiful like warmy golden pink kind of tone. I think they're gorgeous. I think the set of 6 was less than $10. They're great sizes. I don't mind sitting them on the table even upside down just as that extra layer of color until we need to use them and flip them over. Woven placemats, they bring texture and warmth. They're an extra layer on the table. So you've got like your tablecloth, the placemat, the napkin, the runner. All of these things add to that beautiful texture that you're looking for in these cooler months. And tip number 4 is adding a bit of a statement piece. Now I picked this brass candle holder up a couple of weeks ago from a thrift shop. It was very cheap, less than $10 also. I cleaned it up, but I like having it a little bit rustic looking. It's very cool. This is definitely a autumn winter piece for me. And lucky number 5, top tip for me, is adding things in similar color family. I love greens and pinks and reds at the moment, especially like burgundies. So finding items in a really similar color palette will help give texture and layer and cohesion around the home. So if you are having a refresh of like your entryway and your dining space, and if they're relatively close together, if you have some similar colors running through the two, that will really bring a cohesive look to your refreshed space. So I'm just going to get into some styling and have a bit of fun. So let's see what I come up with. I have a few ideas. So here we have a very basic dining table. This has been with us for many years, but it does the job. I have a few favorite tablecloths, and this is definitely one of them. I also love using just different kinds of fabrics as my runners, not specifically purchasing runners. And this one is just a beautiful sagey green rouge sort of fabric. And I thought it would just add those beautiful textures and layers. I pull things from my stash all day long, usually including fabric from a big fabric stash. So I have a neutral base. I've added obviously the sage green. We are definitely loving the layers in this one. I have added some timber for some warmth and a vintage green book. It's got some beautiful little textures to it. Then we have our goldy orange ribbed candle holder, and I've followed that with a ribbed in a vertical on the vase. So they do tie in. I think that's really fun. I like to do subtle but interesting things that match. And of course those beautiful flowers in those 3 different toned neutrals. That's a really great way to bring in a neutral and a soft tone in an autumn kind of look. Now I have popped in a bonus tip here, and that is folding tablecloths to create runners. If you just buy lots of beautiful tablecloths, you won't have to double up and buy runners as well. If they are all in the same tones and sort of color family, they'll work every time. I absolutely love having neutral bases, and this is one of my favorites. So this one is I've just added my plain linen tablecloth, and we're going to go with that beautiful rosy pink gold burgundy kind of look. This one I haven't really done anything like this in a while. It's definitely got lots of textures, lots of layers. I've got some dried things from the garden. My summer was really full on out in the garden, so I do have lots to play with, which is also a great idea. And here we have some marble. I have the timber. We have some ceramics. We have some pine cone, and it brings a really beautiful warmth. I love that the scallop edge of the marble matches the roundness of the timber. Everything is sort of round and soft. I feel like this one's a really, really glamorous, feminine kind of look, and a beautiful sort of start to an autumn feel. This one was probably my favorite. It is still on the table like a week later. It is really beautiful with those autumn tones, the oranges. I've got a beautiful brassy vintage bowl, and then we've just added some dried flowers, my hydrangeas, a beautiful orangey, burnt orange book, and some timber. I feel like this one was super simple, but it actually feels really nice in the space, and with that beautiful warmth coming in through the window, it was just stunning. So I have left that one, and it's my favorite. So I hope you've had a great little time watching me tablescape today, and it's given you a few inspirational ideas about perhaps visiting a thrift store or starting to think about your stash for specific seasons that really help to save some money at the end of the day. If you DIY something and you can keep it for multiple seasons, that is a huge win in my book. If you have loved this video, I would love you to like, and if you haven't already, I would love you to subscribe. As I said before, I would love to know what's your favorite season and where are you watching from. Until next time, have an awesome day styling, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.